By way of introduction, I am a partner at Ernst & Young, newly named EY. I am a consultant in Paris, dealing with change management and people performance. And at the same time, as most of you, I am dealing with HR internal matters as the advisory people leader for France.
My name is Lindsay Ahern, as James said. So I have the privilege of leading the Insights team here in EMEA for LinkedIn. We're delighted to be here today as we were asked to partner with EY to undertake this study. So we're really excited to share the findings with you today.
So what are we going to talk about today? We are going to understand more the trends in talent management. We are trying to identify what kind of talents you are going to look for, to hire, and to find, and learn more about how different would be the competition for talent in the past. 1 year ago at Ernst & Young, we launched a survey about the revolution of services, and as a takeaway, we came with that, with a picture of the economy, and I would be happy to start first by presenting the result of that survey. We understand that the economy is first smart. Of course, data is everywhere. We just speak about that all the morning. Digital is everywhere. And far beyond e-business, all the processes are digitalized in all the companies right now. It's a real-time economy, not only with smartphone, but with all the smart devices, smart cars, smart grids, smart objects. And at least there is a free access for everybody to all kind of information and all the knowledge. This economy, second, is social. I won't speak about the social networks. We spend all the day about social networks. But for companies, it's an open world. We are more and more speaking about marketplace, ecosystem, open innovation, partnership. And within the company, we have to develop more and more holistic approach, not working within silos, as we used to do, but working much more in a lateral way. Third characteristic of the economy, flexible, and you all know how changing is going faster and faster. It's very difficult to company to anticipate, and it is very difficult to manage this continuous change. And at least the economy is ethical, and we do know now how the power of the brand is not just enough to protect the business, and how being compliant and ethic is very important. So based on this learning on the economy, the question was, do the people change, are going to change in the same way? How do you characterize the new employee in the future? And to do so, we performed a survey with LinkedIn. The aim was to cover 7 countries, 4 in the mature economy, UK, US, Germany and France, and 3 other in the emerging market, India, China and Brazil. And we put together a lot of information from all the LinkedIn database, looking at the profile. We also survey 7,000 job ads in all the 7 countries to better understand what you are looking for. And also we perform 500 qualitative interviews. So we are just at the end of gathering the data, and as an exclusivity for LinkedIn today and for you, we are happy to present the first analysis, and we will complete all the studies by end of the month of November. So the first question is, do we expect a real shift in jobs and skills in the coming years?
So I think nobody will be majorly surprised by this answer, but yes, we're expecting a big shift in job descriptions. What we're seeing is that managers are now aware that this change is underway. So in the survey, what we found is that 40% of managers believe that at least 25% of their staff will have a completely different job description in 5 years as they do today. What was really interesting about this is we also looked across regions, and we found that people in Brazil, China and France, they're much more concerned about this change than people in other regions. So we know that change is underway, we know that it's coming. Personally, I think it's already began. So what are we going to do about it? Is it concerning? Is the first question that we wanted to ask. So when we dug deeper and found out what would the challenges be when we think about these changes, two big things jumped out. So technology was number one, and globalization was the second one. If you think about technology, it's no longer the responsibility of the IT professional to do all IT roles within the company. IT is everywhere. So regardless of your function, your job description, you're expected to be IT savvy. It doesn't matter if you're in a marketing role, HR, sales, you're expected to be high tech and to use technology tools. I'm sure everybody in the room, if you thought about your role 5 years ago and your role today, it would be completely different, and that's driven by technology. So we also looked at what changes did that bring when it looked at what jobs were emerging. So a good example of this is Chief Information Officer. As Chief Technologist in a company, the Chief Information Officer is now also a consultant to the CEO. That really shows how important IT is. It's an integral part of the company's strategy. So we know that technology is growing, and the good news is that allows us to do business all around the world. That's really exciting, but mastering globalization is the second big challenge that we've seen when we look at how things are going to change in the coming years. Teams are now expected to work across lots of different cultures, different business languages. I'm sure everybody in the room can relate to that. We've also seen some examples now of how job descriptions are changing when it comes to globalization. So a CFO of a company is now responsible for working with negotiators on big contracts. They're also responsible for migrating the more transactional roles to shared service centers. If you think about that, they're now spending their time working with the CEO, advising on company strategy. Their role is very different to what it would have been 5 years ago.
So we also ask executives about which kind of skills they will look for in the future and more value in terms of hard skills and soft skills. And the top three hard skills the executives are looking are, of course, the digital, the IT, everything technical about IT. And we already spoke a lot about that. What is very interesting to us is that it's very bundled with customer management, customer relationship, and innovation. And we know that IT drives innovation everywhere, and customer relation, for instance, is very digitalized now. So that are the three top skills looking in terms of hard skill. Just let's have a look to the soft skill. And the winner in terms of soft skill is teamwork first. So the idea behind that is to break silos again, to work on the lateral way, to work across the geographies, across the borders, across the functions, even across the company with other companies. The second one required skills is the ability to manage stress. And we all know that in each company, people have more and more objectives and at the same time less and less resources to perform, and that's obvious. But what is new is that, for instance, in all the job ads we look at, it appears as a skill required by the company. So anyone now is very honest about that and explain the way that they need people who are able to manage stress. And the third one, of course, is the ability to manage change and to be able to adapt itself everywhere, every time. Just to take away from that, I think on the first one, in terms of hard skills, one question should be for you as a talent manager about how we're going to manage those new skills, those new employees within the company, as most of the current employees are from the old economy. And so how can we be legitimate and confident in managing people who are just having those kind of new digital and IT skills? That's something very important. And the second one, on the soft skill side, I think there is here a willingness for a new paradigm in terms of management and hierarchy, and some willing to work in a different way across the hierarchy and across all the function, and something we will have to manage within our companies. So that's about the skills. The second question we try to answer is, what does the new employee look like? And it was very interesting to see how we can figure out the coming employee you are going to hire in a few years. And so it seems that you all hear about the chameleon consumer. You know, that kind of consumer who at the same time is going to go to a low cost and to go to luxury shop with able to look at all the price, bargain, and it's very difficult to make segmentation about customer now. So the point is, in front of the chameleon consumer, we need to have a chameleon worker. And what does it look like? We identified 7 characteristics to describe the chameleon. 2 first are about being comfortable with technology, being comfortable with the analytics, and we saw how important it is in the last spoke. So it's not someone who knows only, but it's someone who is able to learn, who is able to teach, who is able to give sense to all the data he's gathering. He's a worker who is permanently connected and able to select at the right time the right information. The second kind of characteristic are about innovation, consumer-oriented, and the ability to think out of the box. The new worker is someone who is already looking for solution to drive customer satisfaction. Whatever the function could be is not only an objective for people in the sales and marketing function, but for everyone in the company, driving customer satisfaction is key. And the 3 remaining one are hardworking, good team player, and then at the same time, we can be seen as a paradox. It's really the idea that you are at the same time able to work hard and not to put pressure on all the team. So being able to keep the pressure for you and not to put the pressure on all the team. It's also a worker who is able to have an helicopter view every time on what happened. So that's the chameleon we're figuring out coming in the future. That's a dream, maybe. We spoke this morning about the dream job. Is there a dream employee? Of course, it's quite difficult to have embedded in the same person all those kind of characteristics. It's very difficult to have a geek who stay on stage. It's very difficult to have someone very innovative being at the same time compliant. And we know that it's quite difficult to stay zen when we are so busy. 2 things here. I think it's really a chameleon and not a Shiva. So the idea is not having someone able to embrace all those kind of characteristics at the same time, but someone who is able to adapt the right behavior at the right time. That's the first idea behind that. And the second one, I think, and we have to think about that as HR leaders, it's the opportunity for everyone to build within the company his own jobs. And that's a key opportunity for the future for employees, and I think it's a key responsibility for companies to allow anyone to build his own job. So, is the chameleon the same everywhere, Lindsay?
Good question. So when we looked at what skills are talent acquisition leaders looking for around the world, trying to see what are the most important skills and how do they vary. The key takeaway that I took from this is that there are some differences around the world, but there's 2 big buckets, hard skills and soft skills, and both are now essential across the world in all roles. So if you think about soft skills, they're becoming more and more important. Recruiters are now expecting as a standard that people, as you can see here, have behavioral skills, strong interpersonal skills, and good communication skills. This makes sure that when you enter a new organization, that you can fit in with that culture straight away. And it also means that you can develop really strong relations with external stakeholders. So soft skills are really important. We're asking our candidates to be really strong on soft skills. And we're also asking that when it comes to hard skills, that they're experts in their field. And also that their skills are now broader than before. So as well as being an expert in their field, they're also IT savvy, as we covered earlier on. So, as you can imagine, that's pretty stressful, right? I mean, when you look at this profile, you think, do I even fit all of these things? So companies are really trying to find ways to deal with this stress. It's definitely mentioned as one of the challenges. Now, as part of their job descriptions, you'll see that people are starting to add ability to handle that stress and handle that pressure as one of the requirements. So what we know is that expectations are getting higher. We know that sectorial knowledge is really vital. And we know that soft skills are expected everywhere. So the ideal candidate we're looking for now is hardworking, they're smart, but most importantly, they're flexible and they're adaptable, and they can learn a lot of these skill sets. So now that we know what talent acquisition leaders are looking for, the next thing is this is where LinkedIn comes in. We wanted to see, of the LinkedIn members, what skills are available to see if that's a realistic ask. So what we found is a definite divide from the developed market to the emerging markets. So in the developed market, you can see that strategic soft skills are the most things that people want to advertise about themselves. So our members in the UK, US, Germany, France, they want to tell us that they're good at leadership, they want to tell us they're good at coaching, they want to tell us they're good at teamwork. Whereas interestingly, when you move to the emerging markets, you can see that these countries are more keen at talking about hard skills, so engineering in Brazil, ERP in Brazil. China is also want to talk about engineering, manufacturing. All these skills are hard skills. We're not saying that people in the different markets have different skill sets. It's how you promote yourself. There's a big cultural difference. If I'm an engineer in India, for example, I'm much more likely to have C++ on my profile than I would ever have teamwork on my profile. So if you now today think about you're building your team, you're thinking, where am I going to find these people? Really what we're seeing is the key is if you can have a global team, you can benefit from both these types of skills and have a really well-rounded team. So we know now what skills people want, what skills are available, what's realistic. So next we wanted to look at what jobs are emerging as a result of these changes that are coming. So we've seen that the jobs that are emerging are around branding, marketing, community, and social care. You might find it strange that IT and program management are declining when we look at volume, but if you really think about that, what I covered earlier is that IT is now diluting across all roles. So I'm sure people in this room all can imagine themselves now, if you think about your role, that you have an element of IT responsibility and also an element of program management responsibility. So this is job dilution, which is driving down the volume of dedicated jobs, which just shows that our employees really need to be agile and they need to be really smart. So, as with skills, we can use LinkedIn data to break this down by country, which is where it gets really interesting. So another divide has come out here, where we can see that in the Western countries, there's definitely more focus on growing your brand and also on caring for the community. So there's an increase in social and community roles. Whereas when you look in the East, it's much more around business development. So when we look at China, for example, 26% of new roles are in sales. And we know from knowing the Chinese market that there's a focus on looking at the local market more and developing business internally, which means it makes sense. So we see that in the West, to recap, we're growing brand, taking care of people, and in the East, we're growing the local market. So there's an interesting dynamic going on in what jobs are emerging.
One last learning, and one of the key learning we added is the fast growing and development of entrepreneurship. And you can look at the idea of entrepreneurship in the two ways. The first one is the value of entrepreneurship, the behavior as an entrepreneur. And the second one is just a position or legal status and the way you contract with a company. So at that time, it's quite difficult to answer the question why there are more and more entrepreneurs. It should be because people are enforced to do so, because they are just not able to find a job, so they have to develop their own business, or it is because they are willing to have more autonomy and to work in a more various context with different companies. But whatever, entrepreneur ranks among the top 20 jobs title in the LinkedIn database. It is the first growing job position in Germany. It is the third growing job position in France. And owner is the first even job title overall in the LinkedIn database. So here is something very interesting who make us think to a freelance economy moving and developing. Close to that is the development of the temporary contract. And for instance, now in France, about 14 to 50%, as in Germany, contract or just temporary. So what does that mean for us? I think first, entrepreneur is a key characteristic. I was saying just previously that we should help people to develop their own business, then own job, sorry. I think at the same time, employees should be entrepreneurs of themselves, and it's very different from what you used to have in the past. So last question we had, and the third one, how are companies getting ready to this change?
So what we wanted to know is, people are aware that a change is underway. Are they actually doing anything about it? Well, how are people planning on finding these candidates that fit both roles and are able to do this job with minimal stress? So what we found is that when we look globally, training is seen as the most viable solution to really upskilling your workforce to make sure that they can meet your expectations, which are high. Following that, we have retention programs and internal mobility as alternative focuses. What's interesting is, again, when you divide by region, you see quite different trends emerge. So in the emerging markets, what we're seeing is that managers are planning on hiring these people with new skills. And also, 70% say they're planning to hire younger people and train them up to that skill set. Whereas when you look in the developed market, it's more challenging to find the people they're looking for. So companies are more focused on upskilling the team that they have and making sure that they're ready for these changes.
So the last question was, are you ready, but are you also confident with this change? And so we can see the answer for each country. The percentage you can see here is the percentage of people who answer they don't worry about the coming change. So we can see that very few people are worried in Germany, in UK, in US, rather than in China, in France, in Brazil. People are very pessimistic about the way they can tackle with the change. In China and Brazil, for instance, they are very pessimistic about the way to find the skills in the market. France and Brazil do know that they don't have the right skills within the company. They are also pessimistic about the trends. For instance, only 8% of the French executive think that they will have more employees in their company within 5 years, compared to 60% of executives in the emerging country who do think they will increase the number of employees in their company. So what could be the solution for that? It is noted that the country where training seems to be the first solution are more confident. And maybe the reason why is that because if you don't have the right skills, just start because by training your people to make them getting the right skills. So we are now at the end of the journey of this first analysis we can share with you this morning. I just want to share you as a conclusion 5 takeaways, the way we can manage those coming change. I think the 2 first one is about the way we are dealing with our people. We all know that a job position is no longer a full life position as it used to be in most of the company in the last century. So according to that, we have to be honest. We have to say the truth. We have to be transparent, to be respectful and helpful with our people to manage this transition and help them developing their career within the company and outside. For instance, at EY, we just changed the strategy, and the new tagline for HR is developing leaders. Whatever the company, they will be a leader. So if they stay within Ernst & Young, we are more than happy, but we also prepare our people to become the leaders in the other company, which are our client, for instance. The other open your organization to diversity, learn from each other, think out of the box. I think it's about the way we can develop different career paths within the company, across the function, for instance. Diversity is not just about gender gap or aging, it's also about diversity in behavior, diversity in academic backgrounds, graduate, etc. So we have to think about the way we can merge competencies, skills, people, whatever the function they came is. And the last one is about trust. I think we spend a lot of energy the previous years to explain the strategy, to tell our people that they should trust the management, they should trust the strategy. So we try to give sense to what we are doing because we understand that it was important that the employees trust the strategy, but it doesn't work in only one sense, and I think we have to think about the other side and how we can demonstrate and showcase our people that we trust them to achieve what they want us to achieve, and it's very important. So here is the end of the presentation. I told you it's just the first analysis. The overall study is coming soon. 40 in-depth interviews, 50 pages of data and comment. And so I think the easiest way to take the survey is to follow me on LinkedIn, and I will announce the launch of the study when it will be ready. Thanks.
Thank you.